What else do you require, my lord?
Fear.
We're here at San Diego Comic-Con with the creative minds and voices of Batman Azteca. Now, this is an ambitious retelling of the Batman story, the Dark Knight story, through a Mesoamerican lens. Thank you guys for joining us here at Screen Rant. This project is awesome.
Thank you. Thank you for having us. Thank you.
Absolutely incredible. Now, Jose, Aaron, you're fusing one of the most recognizable superheroes in Western culture of all time, along with Mesoamerican culture. What made this the right time to tell this story?
Well, I think the best time was when Warner Brothers and DC said yes. That was the best time.
It's always the best time, right?
Yes, actually. But at the same time, we saw the opportunity to tell us a story of Batman that's very unique to us, very different, and that's also when I acknowledge WB and DC for saying yes, because it was unique in so many ways. There are very factual things going on in the movie that we were based off on real history. Obviously, there's fantastical elements, and we try to unite those two ideas in the best way possible. And most importantly, first ever Batman that's not Wayne. So that was unique. I guess we were very lucky to be trusted with this.
Absolutely. Juan, for you, this is such an original and incredible take on Batman. What was your first reaction when you knew that there was going to be a Batman in the world of Aztecs? When that came to you, what was your first reaction?
Well, I was blown away. Just those two words together, you know? Batman Azteca, it just has so much power. It just knocks you on your butt, you know? So when I was approached by Anima and Chatron about it, and when they told me the idea, I immediately said yes. I mean, that's just sounds like a fantastic project. Me growing up being a Batman fan since forever, and then also learning about the Aztec culture at school and everything, that was like our own mythology, right? So having the opportunity to combine those two worlds and come up with something original and new, you know, that has nothing to do with the Wayne part of the story of Batman, and that was the thing that allowed it to be adaptable in so many ways, because it is such a human character. He does go through a lot of human emotions, tragedy, loss, anger, the need for justice, the search for vengeance. These are all very human qualities. So we put all those, and with Ernie Altbacker and I, we came up with this story that we can mix both the fantastical elements of the Batman mythology and mix it with some historical moments that happened during the conquest.
Sure. And
since Batman also has a little bit of that supernatural mysticism to him too as well, the Aztec culture is loaded with that. So the combination was easier, even so, by basing the idea of the possibility of existing a Bat Warrior based on the deity of Tzinacan, which they do have. Yep. They did have a bat god, both in the Mayan culture and the Aztec culture. So that was the perfect little crack in the window to just jump in there and create a whole possibility, a whole world based on a warrior that dons the mantle of the bat.
Speaking of donning that mantle, Horacio, you do a fantastic job. You're carrying Batman's legacy in a new language and also through a new cultural lens. What does it mean to you to be this version of Batman, speaking for a Spanish audience?
Well, I'm Mexican. I'm a brown-skinned guy. I came from a country where we speak more than 69 regional languages. So when they, as Juan said, when they mix these words, Aztec and Batman, I say yes, but I'm speaking to my inner boy. Like, he wants to see this kind of show when I was a kid, to sit with my parents and ask them where we come from, why I'm look like, where are my roots? And this is a great way because it fits perfect. If you watch the movie, it fits perfect. The mythology of Batman, of the first detective and the best detective in the world, with the best warrior for Mesoamerica, that it's Yohualicoatl. So if it's perfect, so it's a really important thing for Latin America and for the culture. This is the representation that we want. We don't want to be tokens in big productions. We want representation with our own context and our own stories to mix the fantastic world with our own world that is also fantastic. So if you think about the Mesoamerican cultures, if you think about a guy who's going down from a big pyramid with feathers, looking to the sun, and they can predict exactly the right moment and when the equinox is gonna arrive, that's magic too.
Yeah.
And we mix those worlds, the comic world and the story. So
Yeah, it's incredible.
it's a great job.
Absolutely.
And it's really great for the kids. And they say that there's a fatigue of superheroes. Nah.
Yeah, this is a whole new spin on Batman that nobody's ever seen. Now, Raymond, the Joker's usually pure chaos, but yours feels a lot more tragic, almost by somebody that's twisted with this spiritual power. How did you navigate playing the Joker that isn't just mad, but he's also mournful?
Oh, again, we've been handed a really great story and a great script and set in this Aztec world. And, to approach it, because he doesn't start off as the Joker.
Right.
Again, he starts off, under certain circumstances, it influences, mentally, emotionally, where he ends up. And again, within the Aztec rituals, the things that they believed in, like with sacrifice, and how all of this, painted his mental, picture. So, just again, when I looked at the story, I saw tragedy, and it is a very tragic story. Yeah. I mean, there's a lot of tragedy in the Aztec story with the invasion of the Spanish Empire. So, when they came in and they decided, that they wanted to steal the gold and, and ravage the kingdom, all of that lends itself to tragedy. So, to take the character from, where he was, an enriched person, where he was in a high priest, significant role and advisor to Montezuma, and then, to have him fall from grace, and then to have to deal with that, and then understanding that, at that time there was a caste system as to where he stood in society, and then, to lose all that, because that was everything. And so that was one of the ways that I approached the character mentally and emotionally.
Yeah, I love this spin on the Joker, because it is a really tragic story when you get there. It's something that people haven't seen. Now, there's this real strong sense of cultural pride and authenticity. Can you talk about working with any kind of historians or cultural advisors on this, Aaron?
Sure. Well, we worked with a premier cultural advisor from Mexico City, and he is one of the preeminent professors on Aztec culture. And we integrated not just in the narrative, because we wanted to stay true to the historical facts, but in terms of creating the visuals that Juan and Jose Carlos and the team at Anima did, in terms of recreating Tenochtitlan and making it a living city as opposed to the ruins that we visit. The essence of it came through the letters from Cortez back to Spain describing what they saw, because much of that has already been destroyed. And so we were very conscious of doing the things that were necessary to convey in the most accurate light possible. I mean, Jose Carlos likes to talk about, we couldn't use the color blue because that was reserved for deities.
Wow.
So you won't see people wearing blue garb in Tenochtitlan and the rest of it. I mean, the artists both there and throughout the rest of Latin America were so inspired by having the opportunity to tell part of their story, even if it's dressed in DC, the DC part becomes universal. And then the specificity of the Mexican culture, and by using a historical consultant, it makes it even more universal, because now everybody can see and imagine themselves in these characters.
That's incredible. Horacio, there's this physicality to your Batman. The way that he moves within the story it's something different. I feel like it's something different. Can you talk about finding that vocal performance that really matched that Aztec warrior energy?
Well, the first, it's a young Batman. We're gonna see a really young Batman, the first steps as a superhero. And at the beginning, his path is through the vengeance. So he wants revenge, but at some point he understands that justice is the best way. And as you said, it's Mesoamerica, so we are really connected with Mother Earth. Actually, poison ivy, it's there, but it's not just poison ivy. It's more something bigger, something that represents our Mother Earth. So I think that's changed with Batman. He's related to the animals. He's related to the jaguars. He's related with the forest, and we try to integrate everything in his voice, but it's a young Batman. We're gonna see origin story, but it's different because there's a new technology to came from the other part of the sea, and he's tried to understand the powder. He's tried to understand how they work the metal. At the same time, mix it with the obsidiana, with the stones and the Mexicos. That's why it was really powerful, because he understands to mix both parts, the old part and the new part. And I said New Mexico, Tenochtitlan. The old part came from the other part of the sea. So that's for us is really great. Integrate this animation of this guy is more related to the animal in a good way, and we put the voice there like a young guy who understand that Mexico Tenochtitlan, the people, it's more important than just him.
Sure. I love
And
that.
that's a superhero.
That's great.
No, but that was the thing. That's the difference between the superhero and the villain. Like, for example, and that's some.
Both have tragical
That's
stories.
something in the story. This is the story of these two great human characters, human beings that go through a tragedy, a great loss, and each one makes the decision: either I'm gonna do whatever it is that I can within my power so that nobody suffers, or I'm gonna do whatever it is in my power so that everybody suffers like me.
Right.
So it's just that decision of, you know, and we see that in this movie. One decides to take that tragedy and become something great. One decides to take that tragedy and brings everybody down with them.
That is amazing. Look, Batman is known for having such a deep rogues gallery, and I think you guys do a fantastic job with what we get. We have the goddess, or the Jaguar goddess in this universe is Catwoman. We got a reinterpretation of Two-Face in this. What can you tell us about some of Batman's rogues reimagined for the Mesoamerican film?
Well, geez, because we had a whole plethora of different villains, but we wanted to focus on the most iconic ones, you know, especially for a movie to be in the first time around. You want to go with the most iconic ones. So we got Two-Face, we have Joker, we have Catwoman or Jaguar Woman, Poison Ivy, and each one of those had to be reinterpreted, you know, with the imagery and the spirit of the Aztec culture. So now, you know, we have a Catwoman, but no, there's no cats, but they were Jaguar warriors. So now we have a female version of a Jaguar warrior that she is essential. She is an essential character in teaching our young Yohaliquatl how to fight at night, because that was a little detail on the Aztec culture. They didn't fight at night because they were not protected by the sun god.
Oh, wow.
So we needed a warrior that can fight at night.
That's incredible.
It's all right. And then we have a Two-Face, of course. And the reason why Cortez fit the character so well is because of that duality. You come with a friendly face, a friendly smile, that you have the well-being for everybody, and then you turn around and completely do the opposite.
Yep.
So that's a Two-Face, right? Fits perfectly within the story. So, and then Joker. How can you not have a Batman without his full counterpart, right? And I think the movie tells the story of both becoming who they become, and you know, I hope you know it becomes another part of the Batman mythos. You know,
It's absolutely incredible. I can't wait for people to see it, and also don't sleep on the score in this. It is the score is
Eagle
phenomenal.
Plum. That's Eagle Plum. He did an amazing job. Yes, no, the music is essential to creating the mood, the excitement, the a little bit of the darkness and the horror that the music has, the movie has here and there, you know, sprinkled about. Because the story does take a little bit of dark turns here and there, but which Batman story doesn't?
Right,
And
exactly.
if you're gonna tell the story of the conquest of America, it has some dark moments in there too.
Look, gentlemen, enjoy Comic-Con 2025. Thank you guys so
Thank
much
you.
for stopping by. The film is absolutely incredible. I can't wait for people to see this.
Thank you very much.
Thank you so much.
September 18 in
September
Mexico,
18.
movies and platform like September
Yeah, limited
25.
release in theaters in Mexico.
Oh, that's amazing. That's very cool.
Big screen.
Big screen.
You got to see it on the big screen. Come
You
on,
have
now.
to go to Mexico.
Tell us, War Leader, what are your orders?